So, hi everyone, I am Ayan and today we are going to do something every Android dev faces, fetching data from an API without losing your sanity. Yeah. So, we'll be using Retrofit for network calls and Hilt for dependency injection, along with Jetpack Compose for the UI. We could have used XML, but since we'll be using an API which will provide us the response in a list format, so we'll have to create extra boilerplate templates in XML. So we'll be using Jetpack Compose for simpler setup and reducing the boilerplate code. So yeah, let's jump right in. So before we start with the coding part, I'll just explain to you what Retrofit is. So Retrofit is basically a library that helps you make API calls in a clean, type-safe way. Instead of manually writing HTTP requests, you just request an interface and let Retrofit do the magic. And Hilt is Google's official way of Google's official library through which you can provide dependency injection in your Android app. It helps objects like our Retrofit instance automatically, so we don't end up creating a mess of singletons ourselves. Like during my first internship, used to I didn't know basically what dependency injection was before my first internship. So I created multiple instances of a Firebase real-time storage. So that created a lot of mess there. Then my seniors told me that I have to use dependency injection here. So since I don't want you guys to fall into that space, so I'm telling you firsthand what dependency injection is before explaining you about Retrofit. So we are going to set up a new project now. We'll just go for the compose empty activity. Then we'll name it as Retrofit sample. Yeah. Now the initial setup of our project is done with all the dependencies of Retrofit. Okay, HTTP, the Hilt dependency for the other DI module. So first of all, let's have a look at the API we'll be using first. So this JSON placeholder slash posts, we'll be using this API for the sample setup. As we can see, this provides us an array of objects with a user ID, an ID, title, and a body. The user ID and ID are integer data types, and the title and the body are string types. So let's create a data package first. We'll create a data package, a data class named as post. Yeah. So now we'll assign, okay. Now the user ID is integer, the ID is integer, the title and body are strings. Let's go for the DI module now. For the DI module, I'll just name it as network module. Yeah. So this object will be, for those of you who don't know what an object is just a singleton class. A class, an object is basically just a class of which only a single instance can be created. If I click here on object, it doesn't show the docs here, but what I'm saying is, like when you have to call this object, you just call it as network module dot the function name. You don't create another instance for this class and then call it from that instance. There's only a single instance that exists, and that is the class's name. Yeah. So we'll provide two annotations here. This module, since we are declaring it as a module, and this single component class, I'll just pick it from here, import this, and single component. So now I will write it as, yeah, since this network fun, we'll first have to create a retrofit module, then we'll create a retrofit instance module, and then we'll create something for the base URL. It will return a retrofit instance, yeah, and just use an equal to operator here with the retrofit dot builder dot base URL, and the base URL will pick it up from here. We won't be putting the slash, we won't be putting the posts endpoint here, we'll provide it in the interface we'll build later on. So yeah, this looks fine right now. This should go here. Let me just turn off my autocomplete. Disable completions. Yeah. Now I'll add a converter. What this JSON converter factory does is basically, since we are receiving the response in, since we'll be receiving the response in JSON, it will convert that JSON into a desirable format which can be used for our app. So now this is the retrofit instance, and now we'll create another instance for our API service, but we'll have to first create the API service for that. So let's go with the API service first. I'll create another package as API, or let's call it services. Just a second. Services, yeah, and let's name it as API service, and we'll create an interface for this. Now comes the main part. Since we can hit this URL through a browser, we know that it's a get endpoint. I turned off the autocomplete. What's happening now? Okay, let's forget it. Since we know that it's a get endpoint, we'll just use the get annotation here. Oh, sorry. We'll use the get annotation here. Write the name of the endpoint in string and tell this service, and just simply declare a function here, get posts and a list of posts. We know that it provides the response provides a list of posts. We have created a post here. One post has one user ID, one title, and a body. And this endpoint provides multiple posts. What is a list of multiple posts called? A list or an array. So yeah, we'll be using this list format here. And now we have an API service here. We'll just create a module for this API service here. Yeah, at provides fun, provide API service, then this retrofit, and we'll call the API service here sample services.api service. This is the same services, this is the same API service we have called here. If I hover over it here, I can check the implementation. Yeah, this is being called in the network module. Okay, and now I'll just go forward with the retrofit.create API service class.java. What this class.java does is it creates this API services implementation in a Java module, which is required by Hilt, because Hilt basically works with since Hilt basically works over Java, and we just use an implementation of it over with our Kotlin code. So we'll be using this class.java. So this API service Kotlin. So this API service which we have built in Kotlin gets created as a Java class through Hilt. Now we'll never have to create this retrofit instance again. Yeah. Now for the repository layer, let's create a presentation layer first. Presentation. We'll go for the let's create another package named home. Then let's just create a home screen file in which we'll be writing the composable part. Okay, I'll just declare a composable function for now. Home screen. Yeah. Now we'll create a repository for it. Home repository. Yeah. So now since we have created the Hilt modules, we won't be able to add constructors here directly. We used to use the javax.inject and javax.inject parameter here, and with the constructor keyword, and now we'll just add a private variable, private val of the API service. Yeah, this should work. Now I will create, since that was a suspend function, we'll create another suspend function here. I hope you guys know what suspend is. It's just basically a keyword which helps us create asynchronous functions. What's happened to my keyboard now? Get posts. Equals API service dot get posts. Yes, this one. And yeah, this one's fine. Now we need to create a ViewModel for it. Yeah, moving forward with the ViewModel, we'll have to create a class for the ViewModel first. Class home view model, and then we'll just inject the constructor similarly here. Inject a constructor, and inside the constructor we'll write we'll call the repository. Yes. Let's just provide a Hilt view model annotation here, and extend it with the view model, the Android lifecycle view model. Yes. Now coming to the body of this view model, we'll have to create a variable in which we'll store the list of posts which we are receiving through the repository, from the repository I should say, sorry. Then private val post list, then we'll declare a mutable list of the type of this will be post. Yes. And yeah, this should work. And now I'll just create another public variable and store the mutable list inside this post list variable. Now I'll create an init block. Since we have only one function here, instead of creating a separate function for it inside the view model, we'll just we'll just write the logic inside the init block. Now for the view, since we have to write this as an asynchronous function, we'll use the view model scope coroutine, and inside that view model scope we'll declare this function. Yes, we'll just call the home repository get post function inside the posts variable, and then add everything inside, add all those posts inside the post list variable. Now creating the UI layer, we had already declared this function, home screen function here. I'll just call the home view model here, home view model equals Hilt view model. Let's remove this. Yeah, let's just log it here at first, and since we haven't called the home screen in the main activity, let's remove this boilerplate, this template from here, and we'll call the home screen function here. Yeah. And since we are using Hilt, we also need to declare this main activity as the Android entry point. Yes, as well as we need to create an application layer here. I'll just name it as Retrofit sample application. Yes, so class Retrofit sample application, yes, and annotate it here with Hilt Android app. Yes, this is it. And for the manifest file, we need to declare this internet permission and name it here as retrofit sample application. These two are the lines that you'll have to add extra. I'll just comment it out to make it more focused, as you can see here. Yeah. Now we can build this application. Let's give it a moment. Now as you can see, I've changed the code a little bit because since the API call is an asynchronous function, as soon as the home screen opens, the log appears and it'll be giving an empty list, because this delay is what happens between the log and the API fetching. So I've added the delay between this opening of this screen and this upcoming log. So that when we run this app and this home screen opens, we can see the log only after a delay of 5 seconds, and which is what this takes. Yeah, so we can see the list of posts here: user id 1, title sent out, body squaet, something like that. And if you see here, you can find the same stuff here. So yeah, so this is what we were trying to do. And now if you want, we can also add some UI stuff here, like I'll just call the post list inside a variable here. Then we can create a column with a background of white color, let's say. Yes. Now we can add a padding here. Let's say 8.dp. Yes, and after this, let's run a for each loop, annotate it with create an object with this, and add a text with post.id let's do this id colon dollar post.id title is this, and text. What was the fourth thing we had here? It was post.userid. Yeah, so we'll move forward with that. User ID, yes. And now if I run this application, I should be able to see, yes, we are able to see something. Oh, sorry, let's do it here, fill max size, and we'll reload this application. Now as you can see, we have the updated UI here, if I just update the color of this text, you'll be able to see it more clearly. Color equals color dot black. Yes. And here as well. And here. Yes. Now we have the list of values here. Now I'll just create the list a scrollable view by doing this vertical scroll. Remember, scroll straight. Yeah, so now it's a scrollable straight. And for better separation, let's just add a horizontal divider here. Yes, now you can see ID, title, body and user ID in each column. Yes. So yeah, that was it. This was our application. We just learned how Retrofit works, how dependency injection works with Retrofit, how to create an API service, how to create a singleton module, how to create a network module, how to interact between the ViewModel repository and the UI layer. And yeah, thank you. Thank you.